All right, today we're going to go behind the walls of your home, literally, to uncover this hidden rule that is preventing electrical disaster every single day. And I'm willing to bet you've probably never even heard of it. So let's just dive right in. Just take a second and think about it. Right now, your home is just coursing with this incredibly powerful electricity. So what's the one thing standing between a totally normal evening and, a potential disaster? If you're picturing that panel of switches in your basement or your closet, yeah, you're on the right track. But the story behind those little switches, it's way more fascinating than you think. So the danger we're really talking about here is something called overcurrent. Now, the best way to think of your home's wiring is like a water pipe. If you try to force way too much water through it, what happens? It's going to burst. Well, overcurrent is the exact same idea, just with electricity. Too much current creates dangerous heat. It can melt wires, and that can lead to a fire. And this is where our hero enters the story. It's the overcurrent protective device, which for most of us is the modern circuit breaker. You can think of it as a silent guardian, just constantly monitoring the flow of electricity. Its one and only job is to spot that too much electricity situation and just shut everything down before disaster can strike. But how does this guardian know when to act? I mean, it's not just guessing. It operates based on this incredibly detailed and rigorously tested rulebook, the National Electrical Code, or the NEC for short. This code really is the backbone of electrical safety in the United States, and it makes sure that every single component in the system works together to keep all of us safe. So let's get to the heart of it. Deep inside that massive rulebook, in Section 210.20a, lies one of the most fundamental principles of electrical safety. People often call it the 125% rule, and honestly, it's a brilliant piece of safety engineering. Now, to really get this rule, we first have to understand that the code sees two completely different kinds of electrical loads. First, you've got a continuous load. That's anything that's running for 3 hours or more. Think office lighting or water heater. Then you have a non-continuous load, which runs in short bursts, like your vacuum cleaner. So why does this distinction even matter? Well, it's because continuous loads generate something really insidious, sustained heat. And when it comes to electrical wiring, heat is the ultimate enemy. And this brings us right to the rule itself. The NEC says that a circuit breaker can't just match the load you expect. No, it has to be rated for the full non-continuous load, plus 125% of the continuous load. That extra 25%, that little buffer, that is the absolute secret to safety. So, how does this actually work in the real world? The calculation is surprisingly simple. First, you figure out your continuous load in amps. Second, you multiply that number by 125%, or just 1.25 on a calculator. This is what builds in that crucial safety buffer. And finally, you just add any non-continuous load to that number to get your minimum required breaker size. Let's walk through a quick example. So imagine a circuit with, say, 12 amps of continuous lighting and a 4-amp non-continuous load, like a fan you turn on and off. Now, simple addition would give you 16 amps, but that's not safe. Instead, we have to apply the rule. We take the 12 continuous amps, we multiply by 125%, which gives us 15. Then we add the 4 non-continuous amps. The result? 19 amps. This means we actually need a 20-amp breaker, not a 15-amp one. That 5-amp difference is your entire safety margin against heat buildup. It's everything. Now, of course, like any good rulebook, the code does have its exceptions. There are some very specific electrical assemblies and breakers out there that are specially engineered and tested to handle a continuous load at 100% of their rating without overheating. In these specific listed cases, you don't need that 125% rule. But for the vast, vast majority of standard installations, that buffer is absolutely mandatory. And what's really cool is that this rule doesn't just exist in a vacuum. You see, true electrical safety comes from a layered, system-wide approach. The 125% rule is just one piece of a complete shield that's designed to protect every single link in the chain. I mean, this same section of the code protects the entire system. It protects the wires running inside your walls. It protects the appliances you plug into them. It even protects the outlets themselves from getting overloaded. It's just a brilliant illustration of how every single component is thought of, creating this complete shield of protection around you. So, we've gone from a simple switch all the way to a complex calculation. But let's bring it all back home. What does this all really mean? Why does a rule like this matter so much? Because, this isn't just some abstract rule for electricians to memorize for a test. It is the real-world application of safety engineering. This calculated buffer, this extra 25%, it's a very deliberate design choice that has prevented an absolutely untold number of house fires and saved lives by stopping electrical systems from ever reaching their breaking point. So the next time you happen to see a circuit breaker panel, just remember what it really represents. It's not just a bunch of switches. It's a guardian, operating on rules that have been engineered over decades. The code isn't just a suggestion. It is the engineered line between safety and disaster. So the real question is, will you ever look at a circuit breaker the same way again?